tonight's topic is task overload. And actually, I'd like to transition this over to our programs chair, Carol. Would you like to tell us more about Mishirika?
Absolutely, Mishirika. So I must tell you, first of all, Mishirika, this is a presentation that I really need because I just missed the virtual networking session because I was overloaded with tasks. And all of a sudden I looked up and I went, oh my gosh, it's like 10 of 6. I totally spaced. So I plan to take a lot of notes tonight. I first met Mishirika Scott at the SOTEC conference. Many of you may know that conference that was held for 19 years actually, and came to realize very quickly that she was a force to be reckoned with. Obviously very bright, energetic, and just always with a smile on her face. And so we've kept in touch through the years and so on. And it occurred to me when we were starting to plan for 2021 that having her present on task overload was just a great way to start off the year because we all need it. We all need to figure out how to balance everything that we have on our calendar every day. So tonight, I hope we will learn a lot. I'm sure we will learn a lot. And Mishirika, I will let you take it away. And, I didn't really say what you do these days. If you want to talk about that for a moment or two, I'll let you talk about what you do at Cal State LA and open it up.
Thank you so much, Carol. And it is raining very hard out here. So I don't know if you all are getting rain, but we are catching a little bit of a storm. So I'm hoping everything stays intact, okay? So if it blacks out, just keep the slides and keep going. I work at Cal State LA. I am a student success systems project manager. Absolutely love what I do. I'm in my passion. That's why I'm able to come and kind of talk to you all about task overload. Wasn't always working in my passion or my field, but I am now, so it's exciting. I've been there for a few years, and before that I did some teaching, and that is my heart, and that is what brings me here today to you all, because this always pulls me back in. Interestingly enough, I had spoke to some people. If I could, can I take over the screen? Can I do a screen share now? Or just, thank you. Get that set up. I had spoke with, and can everyone see my screen well? Someone, Carol, I can see you. If you can give me a thumb, perfect, yes. Thank you. Okay, so during the, I'm gonna jump right into the task overload when it's just too much. During the networking portion, I was able to talk to a few people and just hear, some people were texting on the back end and chatting and letting me know that they're gonna be doing other things at the same time. And I thought, wow, this is awesome. This is why I do this presentation, because everyone is overloaded with tasks. We're trying to multitask. We're trying to do multiple things. I understand some people cannot unmute. Some people will not be showing their camera, their video. That's absolutely fine. You do not have to participate in the poll questions and stuff. If you're driving, if you're trying to work out, if you're trying to read a book and listen at the same time, by all means, please be safe. If you're shaving, don't try to, answer a poll question. Just listen. You should be able to pick up with what the demonstrations and what the message is without having to participate. But by all means, I would love you to participate, okay, and answer some of the poll questions. There'll only be 5 poll questions too, so kind of dispersed throughout. I like to start with this thing about a truth that cannot be ignored, because so many of us are juggling so many different things, whether we're proud of that ability or not. Unfortunately, many of our projects aren't very creative. Those things that we're juggling, we're kind of running after repetitive tasks, routine tasks, things that are kind of like putting us in a checklist mindset. We jump from one thing to another, thinking that as soon as we check it off, we're going to be good. And all of a sudden, that list has gotten even longer. And for some reason, we want to get it all done in that day, that week, that month, or at least that year. However, jugglers, people who juggle all these tasks, number one, they don't get paid very well to do the juggling. We probably get paid well on our jobs, but not to do the juggling. And oftentimes those balls fall and hit us right on the head, or they end up hitting someone else on the head unintentionally. we become unanchored, we're chasing opportunities, we're missing important events, we're showing up, but we're not present. I have a boss that does that. Yes, one team member that does that will be texting and will say like, hey, so do we have the approval? And that person will say, and we'll go like, okay, so let's start the whole meeting all over again because they're trying to multitask. We also aren't there for our families. We aren't showing up and being present for our family members. We're trying to do so many different things. And most importantly, we don't show up for ourselves. What's most interesting too is that I run into people who are accomplishing a lot of things throughout the year, and then they get to the end of the year only to end up burnt out, overbooked, overwhelmed, and overloaded. And it's just something that we all need to deal with. Especially we have some of our younger CAPMs that just earned their certifications, and they're looking for us project managers to come in and not just give them a bunch of technical skills, but also come in and say, hey, there's some practicality behind this, and be safe. Be safe. I have a couple stories that I'll intersperse in this meeting, but one is that one of my mentees, who some of my mentees are on this call, and they know this person personally, actually ended up in the hospital recently behind task overload. So this message is very real. The person is out of the hospital now, but while the student was in the hospital, the job that was just a internship was texting asking for a deliverable. And I was brought into the conversation because the mentee reached out to me and said, what do I do? And it's like, what do you mean, what do you do? You cut the phone off, throw it, do it. Like you don't respond. Like your health is more important than answering a message. But we get into that mindset of, I have to get that checked off. They're waiting for me. They need me. And so it's real. It's real. And it creates this sort of brokenness for us. And so that's why that screen is up there. I want to tell you all a little bit about myself so that I sound more like a human, a person, and not some type of robot. And I'm a real human being. I grew up in Los Angeles on 49th and Western. Mother was absolutely amazing. Grew up in a single parent home, went to USC, graduated from there. I was so excited in 2009. I have a little sister. She's 10 years younger than me. That's a picture of my mother with my sister. 2008, I graduated, 2009. And many of you who even know me don't know this, but 2009, I walked into our home and my mother was dead on the floor. And I know, Carol, you don't know this, but I'm here today because this is, it's a real thing. So I was 23 years old. My sister was 10. You look at the shoes, it says lost there. I was in a season of just prayer, meditation, and, just searching and looking, but also still overloaded with tasks, like still chasing after things and trying to check things off. Eventually, you fast forward a little bit. A brochure comes to my door. I'm in project management stuff. I meet Keith Birch of PMI-LA, Debbie Covey. They pull me in. Eventually, I meet great people like Carol, and she pulls me in. PMI-LA chapter, people like Maylin, who I think is on the line. Barb Cook, she's in the picture with PMI-LA chapter. It was an amazing thing that people just hovered around me, but not realizing that I still was kind of struggling with prioritizing my priorities and task overload. So that's what brings me here today. We're going to jump into our first set of questions. You do need pen and paper if you want to jot things down. You don't have to. We're going to throw up a poll question, but not yet. When I get to question number 5, you can pull up the poll question, Rick. So let's just be honest. The truth shall set you free. Number 1, do you have more tasks on your to-do list than you can complete on a given day? Yes or no? Just in your mind, you can say it. You can write it in the chat. Do you have more tasks on your list of to-do things than you can complete in one day? Number 2, just yes or no. Do you have unmet goals from 2020 that carried into 2021? Maybe I'm the only one. Number 3, number 3, do you commit to new tasks prior to checking your schedule? Number 4, do you wish you would have spent more time with your loved ones in 2020? And the last question is, are you multitasking right now? Rick, you can throw that up, and people, be honest. I'm gonna answer. I'm on the screen, so I can't really multitask. I can, but I can't. I'm sure I can find a way. So go ahead. These questions should take you no longer than a couple seconds to respond. If you have to think through it, you're probably not being that honest. And Rick, when you're ready, you can show those poll results. Will it pop up over my presentation? Perfect. Oh, I love it. 40% are not. I want to know who those people are. Inbox me privately because I want to know how you do it. Because if I were watching this, I think I would be multitasking as well, which is terrible, right? Everyone got to see that. So most of us are multitasking right now. Once more, that is why, you know, we are here today. So in my opinion, there are two different types of people. There are task managers and they're vision masters. Task managers, and this is just to give you all a little bit of context, task managers are usually like chasing after opportunities. They're shifty, they're here, they're there, you know, they're in meetings, not present, and we often feel bombarded and kind of chained to whatever that task is. Like, I have to get it done. Even if I'm in the hospital, you know, I need to text and let my team know that you know, as soon as I'm out the hospital, it'll get done. Then we have people who are vision masters, probably a little bit more, you know, free-spirited, a little bit more calmer, getting things done, and we don't understand how they get so much done, even though, you know, they have the same amount of time allotted to them. But I think one of the main differences is, and this is just my belief, task managers are after opportunities. Vision masters look at assignments, and assignments have due dates, and they have procedures and processes and so forth that come with that, okay? And this will pop up again a little bit later for reinforcement. The task manager gone wrong. This person is all about opportunities. Are you the person that has 23,080 unread notifications on your phone? I think this is a time for poll number 2. Does your screen look like this? I have 50 plus unread notifications on my phone right now. It's yes or no. This is the moment of truth. I mean, if you add all those up, I don't think I can respond to all those notifications even in 1 year. Oh, wow. Okay, 25 or more unread notifications. So that's really good. So some people have, 50 plus unread notifications. I'm a person who I get them off of my screen as quickly as I can. But this is probably indicative of what a task manager looks like. They are just it's a lot of stuff coming in at you. The Vision Master, on the other hand, read this really cool book called Get Momentum by Joey and Jason Womack. And there's this one page in that entire book that stood out to me, and it is called, "What do I want to be known for?" I think, and this is my thought process, that a vision master starts with this question. And I talk to my mentees about this all the time. What is the vision? What do I want to be known for? We talk about it in project management, but we jump right into projects. We don't even know the vision. We don't have everyone's input, buy-in, or anything. We're just like, here's the project, here's the deadline, here's the budget. But what's the vision? What is the benefit? What are we doing it for? What is the assignment? Okay. So that is kind of like the difference in opportunities and then looking at assignments. Here are our objectives for tonight. We're going to talk about busyness and change. We're going to do some priority activities, a couple task activities, nothing that you have to write down, you have to do, you can just listen in. Then I'm going to give you all some tools for purpose-driven planning and how to, which is the most important thing of why I'm here tonight, how to go from task manager to vision master. Those are our objectives. So a little bit on busyness. Busyness is the new stupid. That's what someone from Forbes said. I actually agree. I am so tired of reaching out to people, friends, family, and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm busy. Okay. It's just, that's the code word for leave me alone these days. Being busy is nothing to brag about. Some people are obsessed with 24/7 connectivity. Some people use busyness as a badge of honor or status. Like, if I'm not busy doing something, then I'm not productive, or I may lose my job. So I have to stay busy. Busy for the sake of being busy, busy for job security, FOMO, which is the fear of missing out. I am okay with missing things now. When I see notifications pop up on my phone, I am like, oh, I can't go there. Don't want to do that one. We use it for escapism. We use it for so many different reasons, it's including being having discomfort with blank space on our calendar. We kind of freak out if we see too much space on our calendar at times. So that's busyness. change is a little, I love this thing about change, these 7 stages of change, because this cycle that we're going to go through, I'm hoping that I get you all through this kind of change cycle within this next 40 minutes or so. I know it's a heavy lift, but change goes through this process. And it's one portion that I want to focus in on, which is the last portion. So we go through this pre-contemplation phase, we go through a contemplation, we prepare, we take action, we maintenance that change, we recycle, we relapse, we kind of figure it out, you know, throughout, and then it terminates and it sort of becomes natural, becomes a part of our natural norm. For example, right now, wearing a mask. I'm sure there were times where we didn't wear a mask. I'm sure there were times where we walked into a place and we were like, oh no, I'm not wearing a mask. I forgot my mask. I don't feel like putting a mask on, whatever that thing is. I'm sure it has happened. However, eventually we took time to prepare, we took action, we maintained it. We probably relapsed and, you know, got upset a couple times, but eventually we probably all started walking around with masks on and we're having them in our pocket. It's a part of our outfits now. Some people get them like with funny little faces and designs on them and all kind of good stuff. So what I want you all to know is that all change terminates. All change terminates. It's not permanent. It feels a little uncomfortable in the beginning, but eventually it terminates. So now we'll talk a little bit about the who we are. And unfortunately, we are most times all of these things at one time. So I'm going to tell you what they are, and then I'll explain what I mean. So we're the parent, student, mentor, counselor, trainer, mechanic, tax agent. I'm a taxi driver. I am the chef, the friend, the spouse, the project manager, the C-suite executive, coach, gardener, graphic artist, sister, brother, uncle, aunt, grandparent, and all the above, all in one day. I'm going to fix my own car. I'm going to create my own marketing material. I'm going to counsel everyone that comes to me. I'm going to be a mentor. I'm going to volunteer. I'm going to do it all. There's nothing that I can't do. Unfortunately, this does not work, obviously, because if it worked, we probably wouldn't be here. So activity priorities, here we go. I'm going to give you all a scenario. It's like my scenario, and you are going to prioritize these tasks on the next sheet. You can do it mentally. What I really would like you to do, even if you don't pull out the top 4, pull out your top number 1. Like, what is the one thing that I would, no matter what, hands down, this is what I would prioritize of this short list, okay? Here's the scenario. It's 3:30 p.m. and you have a work-related deliverable and it is due at 5. It gives you about an hour and a half. You're almost done, but suddenly you remember your to-do list. You're almost done. You have an hour and a half. Take 1 minute, and I'm going to give you all about 30 seconds to prioritize your top 1 task, the top 1 thing, okay? Here we go. 8 tasks, prioritizing your priorities. Would you finish your work assignment that's due by 5 o'clock? Would you get gas before your 4:30 a.m. commute? You have this friend that you promised you would pick up from LAX at 6 p.m. Would you head there? Eat dinner because you skipped lunch? Pay the utility bill because it's due at 5 p.m., the same time as your homework assignment. There's a knock at the door. Do I go answer it? Now my cell phone is calling and it's the office. Do I answer that? Or do I draw the concept for my business logo? Or read that chapter of a book, or go smell the roses, or whatever else there is to do out there. There's a poll question that should pop up. This is poll question number 3. Give you all 30 seconds, think about it, and then answer that poll question. 30 seconds of a little bit of silence. And feel free to use the chat too.
So we should give the true answer, even if we know it's wrong?
Give the truth shall set you free. That is my motto for this whole thing. If we're not going to be truthful, Carol, we shouldn't even be here. Yes, because my truth isn't good either.
No, I hear you. I know I should eat dinner, but.
So I will give you all 30 more seconds to fill that in. And then Rick, you can close out the poll when you get enough responses. Wow. Okay. See, people are not being honest tonight, and that's fine. No one is going to sit there and eat dinner. Oh my God. It must be a lot of students on this call tonight, and I can't see who's all on the call, but as project managers, I think we're probably going to, Carol, what do you think? What was your number one? Carol, you there? No?
I'm here.
Oh,
I know I should eat dinner, but of course I won't. And if I have a project due by 5 o'clock, I'd want to complete that. That's the top priority task.
everyone will kind of go to that one. And interestingly enough, what we will also do, and what I've saw in previous presentations I've presented at, we will try to do all of them. Like, okay, I'm going to pay the bill, and then I'm going to finish the work assignment. I'm going to answer the phone, and then I'm going to go to the door with the phone on my, shoulder. I'm going to be texting my friend at the same time, telling them I'm on my way. I'm going to be a little bit late. And then I'm also going to come back and by 2 o'clock in the morning, draw out my business logo because that's my vision or something. Task overload is real. Here's what I do want you to know, and this is the beauty of it. You can delegate. You do not have to take on every single thing. I can pick these top 4 priorities, finish my work, get my gas before my 4:30 a.m. commute. For those of you who are commuters out there, students and, working professionals, my goodness, we know what a commute can be like. So getting that gas early is important. I would definitely pay the utility bill because the lights being off and the computer being off won't be helpful for me. So I might not eat first, and then drawing up the concept for my business logo. Remember those project management strategies. You can avoid, mitigate, escalate, transfer. We do not have to accept everything. We can actually avoid some of those things, like the knock at the door or the boss calling from the office, perhaps. Here's a little story. I wanted you all to see this story only because I had reached out to one of my mentors at one point because I was experiencing task overload. And I thought the story just captured this whole realism of where we are and how serious this thing is. And hopefully it'll cause us to pause and maybe make some changes as we move forward if we need to. So this is what my mentor said. I fell into my current career because I have a natural ability to work with technology. The monotony is getting to me. I know that I will have successes in certain areas, fires in others, and that I can find solutions to work through complex situations. That said, it's no longer as satisfying as it once was. I think that when you obtain the salary and the title that you've been chasing for a while, at the forefront of my thought, let's see, oh goodness, that's not it. There's a realization that the chase is the most exciting part, and maintaining that success in the same area for a period of time is work, and it's not always glamorous or exciting. Am I making a difference? As you get older, the family life becomes more of a consideration for some. It's definitely a big part of my life. How much time will I have to spend with my kids is at the forefront of my thought process. I lost a lot of time chasing the carrot, and you never get it back. I've had occasions ruined by being connected 24/7, and it's human nature to have some resentment about that. It's important to know what drives you, but you also need to understand that sacrifices are not always recognized in the moment. My advice, do what you love, and the rest will fall into place over a period of time. Eventually, your passion for your career will lead to prominence in some form or fashion. It may be financial, it may be status, it may be in social standing, or it may just be a satisfaction in your heart. Finally, keep smiling. Do something that allows you to be yourself. There's a lot of effort that goes into fitting into the mold. In my experience is that it's not always worth it. There you have it, Sam. So moving from that letter that I received, which I thought was really, really moving, in that this person has reached that height of their career and they're turning around and saying all this in retrospect. And I'm going, let me internalize that and really take some time to figure out, what am I after? What am I doing? So that's where we get into this thing called the what. So we have all these competing priorities. We have work, professional development. We have our routine tasks, cooking, cleaning, all that good stuff. We have giving back, date nights, media, family, social fun, spiritual things that we do, health, vision, sleep, which we don't do a lot of, eating. These are the what's, and we pretty much, for the most part, do all these things every single day. If you know, and if you agree, you can go ahead and jump in the chat and say so. But we're pretty much wearing all these different hats all throughout the day. How are we getting it done? I don't know, but we're going to talk a little bit about that on this activity called the sort filter. So if you have your piece of paper, or you can just do this mentally, I'm going to ask you a question, give you about 10 seconds to jot down a few things. I know someone in the previous breakout session said, oh, I already have my to-do list ready and I'm ready to go. And so they probably have this done. But for those of us who do not have it done, we're going to step 1, 2, and 3. And then there'll be a poll question at the very end. And I'll let you know, Rick, when to pull that up. So what's on my to-do list for the rest of the day, meaning tonight? So whatever time zone you're in, it's 6:30 here for me. What do you have to do for the rest of the day? Is it clean up, cook? I'm sure we have something. So be okay with the 20-second pause. What do you have to do for the rest of the day? Just bullet point it out or think of it. Go ahead and expand that list and just jot down a couple of things that you have to do for tomorrow. Just a couple things. Friday. And then go ahead and expand that list one more time and write down one thing that you must get done by the end of the month. Just one. Just one thing by the end of, oh goodness. That's like in 1 week. Okay, yeah, that's good. 5 days, or so. No, 28, 29, 30, 31, 3 days, huh? Yeah, within the next 3 days. What do you have to, you were like, it's January 2021, I don't know what that thing is. So I'm gonna say a couple things and then we're gonna bring up the poll question. So we have this sort filter where ideally you all will be writing things and either they're going to fall into a bucket of either being urgent, like it has to get done. If I don't get this done by 5 o'clock, the lights turn off. Something that's routine, like, okay, I need to cook, I need to clean, I need to wash, I need to do those things. Something that's important, like, oh, I promised my nephew or my niece or someone that I'm going to watch a movie with them. So that's really important, family oriented. And then there's our vision driven tasks that are more like, oh, I want to create a presentation. I want to write a book. I want to write a chapter of a book, read a book, those things that help us to keep, intact with our vision, those bigger things that are bigger than urgent, routine, and important. If you can go ahead and bring up the poll question number 4. Most of my to-do list tasks can be categorized as urgent or routine. Yes or no?
Isn't it typically both?
What's interesting is no, because if it's urgent, it's like there's a consequence of like a negative consequence, more likely than not, but sometimes positive that will happen for sure. Routine is like, I can get it done and I do it every week, but I don't have to get it done today. There's not a set deadline and a consequence really attached to it, whether positive or negative. So that's how I distinguish urgent, like a fire burning, versus my kind of routine, things that I kind of do every day or every week. Good question though. Perfect. And that's usually what happens. I love that some people, 35%, I want to know these 35%ers, 35 and 40%ers. So some people have more important and vision-driven things on their task list. That's that 35% perhaps. And then those of us, including myself, most of the things on my list are urgent and routine when I really look at how I'm spending my time, which is why we're here tonight. So the next thing I want to talk about is, once again, there are these two types of people, task managers and vision masters. Task managers feel, kind of like, I have to, going back to this previous slide, I absolutely have to get this done. And I have to do these checklist items. I have to, just to feel accomplished in some way. But we get to the end of the month, the week, the year, the day, and we haven't accomplished those big visionary things that we want to do. And more likely than not, we haven't spent enough time with those who we love or done some of those things that we think are really important, even if it's just watching, our favorite show. So that is that difference again. And I'll talk to you about this little person that's holding that anchor as well. So why task and why vision? So when you think of a task manager, this is a person that shows up to a meeting just to multitask. They show up and their schedule is all over the place. I'm often overbooked. Opportunities offer me a quick excitement, so I take those on. It's hard to say no. My life is generally boundaryless. I just go with the flow. If I'm not busy, I'm not effective. I feel enslaved to my work, like I have to do it. Then we have these kind of, why vision? Why do we have vision people? Vision people are a little more anchored, and that's what you see the little guy there with the anchor. When I show up, I'm present. My tasks are filled with purpose. I'm not bound to any opportunity. I'm okay with saying no. It's a breeze, passing up things. Boundaries and parameters are my norm. I stand firm in my work. I carve out time for family, and smiling, that comes easy. These are just some of those things that I think are characteristic of people who are task managers and who are vision masters. And my hope is that we all on this call go from task managers to vision masters. There are 168 hours in a week. Many of us have probably saw this slide before. Some of us, this is probably new to us. 168 hours. I broke this down because I did a little poll asking people in my network and in my community, how do you spend your time? And so most people are spending about 40 to 80 hours in work. We might not be spending the full 80 now because we're not commuting as much, but we're still probably plugged in to work during that commute time. So when we do the 9 to 5, kind of, this is how we get the calculation, the 9 to 5, and you expand that out to include the time that we're getting dressed, the time that, you know, we're commuting, all of that wraps into about almost 80 hours of that 168 hours a week. That leaves us with about 88 hours or so just to get our routine things done, cook, clean, eat, groom, all those other, you know, anything else non-goal oriented, just to get by, gas in the car, grocery shopping, all that great stuff, fixing the car. And then we have, if we're lucky and we do this thing really well, we can actually have 30 hours of vision time carved out where we can work on our projects that are near and dear to us, the things that we absolutely love. You can go ahead and jump in the chat if you want to. I know this is a slide that some people have really strong reactions to. They're like, who is working 40 to 80 hours? Well, if you do the math, I don't know too many people that are doing a 9 to 5 and that's it. That they're walking in the door, you know, they wake up at 8:50 in the morning and they go to the job by 9 o'clock and they're back home and nothing else to do that has to do with work. I don't know that person. And if you are that person, send me a link to the job that you're at and let me know if they have any openings. And then we're kind of running behind things, trying to get other stuff done. And why I bring this graph out is because, this chart rather, is because we're spending more than half of our time essentially maybe working on someone else's vision and not necessarily our own vision. And that's where that kind of brokenness comes from, and that kind of task overload thing. We're working in a position that doesn't align with our vision. We're split, we're divided, and there's that break that kind of happens. My filter, and one of the things that I love, and I'm going to continue to come back to this, is what do I want to be known for? Do I want to be known for being a task manager or a vision master, someone who did the things that I loved doing and someone who does the things that I want to do? You know, a vision master is going to be anchored in a purpose, anchored in their vision, anchored in an assignment that they're attempting to complete, versus the person who is a task manager just checking off a checklist. So what do I want to be known for? Timely advice is as lovely as golden apples in a silver basket. That is a proverb. I recently got this email from someone, and this, again, these little stories are indicative of the people that I've come in contact with who are experiencing task overload. And this is from, this is recently, within the past couple weeks. Dear such and such, I hope this email finds you and your loved ones in safe and healthy places. I'm writing to let you know that I have made the difficult decision to move from Sac State and this place, to move on from this place. After 8 years of working in Sacramento, I have decided to work in a city closer to my home. This past year has helped me to recalibrate a sense of purpose, my sense of purpose, workload, commute, and time with family. Take good care. Signed, Executive Director. You all may know a lot of people who are going through this as well, who are, leaving jobs, making different decisions. I know that Rick talked a little bit about a business thing that's going on and was excited about some things that he's doing. And I was like, wow, this is what these moments are for. Take time to really understand, how much time are you spending on that commute? Is it really worth it? Are those extra dollars or chasing that carrot really, really worth it? 8 years gone. Thankfully, this person came back to their sense of purpose, but this is an executive director sitting in a high chair, experiencing probably great things, going great places. And here it is that they're saying, you know what, I got to recalibrate. And so I'm hoping that you all walk away with that recalibration point tonight as well. Here are some vision points, because I know that I talk to some people and they say, like, well, what do you do to get vision? What do you mean this vision thing? Like, do I just go get a new pair of glasses? Like, no, it's beyond that. So we're talking about your natural talents. What are you naturally talented at? What is it that, you can do better than anyone else with your eyes open, closed? No one taught you that thing. You didn't have to read a book. You didn't have to sit in PDU bearing webinars for 50 hours to understand that thing. You just were like, oh my gosh, I don't know how it is or why it is, but I know how to do this. Mine's is teaching / talking. Anyone who's in my family, my friend circle, they'll be like, oh, that girl can give her a topic and she will go for out. She will go. So this is my natural thing. I naturally can sit in front of a camera, do a presentation, and this fills me up. It does not take away from me. That's the difference between chasing that task and having vision. This is aligned with who I am. So it's fun, it's exciting. It can be overwhelming, preparing and all that stuff and planning, but overall, it's your natural talent. It's something you didn't have to learn. What are you interested in? For example, me, I'm interested in student success and project management. What interests you? Is it technology? Is it not technology? Was it really, I don't know, some other gardening or mechanic work? Or what is your true interest that has absolutely nothing to do with someone taught you this thing? You're just interested in it. And this is really important for my college students and my mentees who are on the line. I can't see you right now, but you're out there. I saw you all log in. This is important. Know what you're interested in. We talk about this. Know the associations that you want to have. Do you want to be associated with technology or project management or student success or engineering or construction, whatever that thing is? And feel free to chat it out too, in the chat box. I'm not monitoring it, but AITP is. What are those things that you're interested in? Those associations that you would like to have? Marketing, real estate. And who do you want to serve? We're all going to be serving someone. Whether we like it or not, we're going to be on, whether it's a volunteer work or it's our 9 to 5, we are available to some group of people and offering our talents and our skills and our gifts and all that good stuff. Who do you want to wake up every day for, other than yourself, of course, and your family? When you step out of your home and you're interacting with the world, who is going to, how are you going to be your happiest and your most excited? And, you're bringing the energy and the joy, and only you will know that. Only you will know that. So think about that. If you're struggling with, what is my vision? What do I really want? I'm always feeling like I'm falling behind. My to-do list is so long, and my to-do list is so short these days. It is short. It is little tiny list, two, 3 bullet points. And we'll talk about some of those strategies in a minute. But I really want to key in on this point of, what is your vision? Do not get to the point to where it's 8 years down the line and you are in the hospital texting. Do what you love to do. And as my mentee Sam said, the rest will fall into place. Go after it, chase after it, and then get involved with all the associations and the PDUs. And then it becomes exciting. It doesn't become, like bondage. It doesn't become a ball and chain that you're pulling everywhere. You just become anchored in that thing. And then you look for opportunities to speak. You look for opportunities to write. I recently published an article called The College Touch. This is my passion, student success. I work it, I live it, I do it, and anyone who meets me will attest to it. So I want you all to walk away with that as well. And if you are being pulled in different directions, I'm gonna give you some tools that will help you to hopefully get recentered. Here's the part that all of the techie people like. I have about 5 slides. You all are gonna be like, yay, I have these slides now and I got all my little tech tools and now I could be more overloaded. The point of the tools is not to overload you. The point of the tools is to actually give you something that you can look at and say, I can actually use this to become unburdened, to become unoverloaded. If you are missing meetings, if you're showing up and you're not present, if you are not checking your schedule, overbooking yourself, constantly canceling meetings and having to tell people, I'm sorry, can we reschedule? If that is you, if you're forgetting things, looking for keys all the time, or take some time, really take one of these tools and just try to implement it and see if it works for you, okay? So the first one is, I call it habit stacking. This is my schedule. Now, this was my schedule when I was commuting. And so you'll see these different colors. This is a simple little document that you can pull offline, you print it out, and you just color it in. If you don't like coloring, shade it in, cross it out, do whatever you do. Habit stacking is so important. What you do is you start with the blue. That is your work schedule. So me, I work a set schedule. This is why I love higher ed, because they do not call me to come in on Saturdays and Sundays. So I get to relax. So my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it is set. That is pretty much, I'm going to habit stack around my work schedule. So I started off with my 8:30. I would be on the train. I think at that time, that can't be 8:30, is it? No, 7:10 on the train. So my actual work schedule started at 8:30, ended at 5:30, Monday through Friday set. So I blocked that time out. Now, before I did this activity with habit stacking, I was all over the place. So I would be, I mean, it was just, I was in the morning, I'm trying to do, and some of my mentees can attest to this, I would be trying to mentor them in the morning when I'm half asleep, coffee dripping down my face, and, you know, thinking about different things. I'm talking to someone on the train. It was just out of control. And I took that and put it into the pink areas, as you see. So you start with the middle, which is your work schedule. Boom, Monday through Friday. Then you add in your commute. So you want to put your commute time in there, and if you do any resting or praying, spiritual things, all that good stuff, put it in that little chunk right at the top and right at the bottom, because you can't change those. And then you also want to habit stack your grooming. So that's the top the top of the bar that's blue in the middle. That's me habit stacking. I have to wake up at 5:28 in the morning. I'm done Monday through Friday. I'm done getting ready, on the train, out the door, and boom, my whole day goes by. Of course, we're trying to multitask, which we're terrible multitaskers, but we try during that 8 hours. And then we're back on our commute and we're back home at some point. Me, it's about 7:30. I was getting off the train. So if you look at the time that I'm spending on my work, if I am not in my vision, that 40 hours plus of my day, I'm going to be pretty miserable Saturday and Sunday. I'm not going to be a happy camper. And I definitely won't be on here taking time to create these type of things. I wouldn't have the time. But because I'm in my passion and I'm doing what I love doing, that 9 to 5 is a part of my vision. It's a part of my passion. I'm working on behalf of student success. My meetings run smoothly, knock on wood. My teams are fantabulous. Not to say that all the teams are like that, but I go in with a refreshment and a sense of purpose. And so I enjoy what I do. Not to say it doesn't get stressful, but I enjoy it. A good, healthy stress. And so then you look at, okay, do I want to work out? What is my goal for that particular week or that month? It may be reading a book. It may be working out. It may be spending time with family. You're just going to habit stack. Anything that you see that's green, those areas that are green, that's free time. That's date night, family time, do not bother me time. My phone is off time. It's me time. Anything that you see that's red, that was my workout schedule. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would do my walks, but I started habit stacking from my week. Didn't always look like this. I was running all over the place, late to the gym, coming home, I'm tired. It was crazy. Black is sleep, which most of us probably have a little tiny line right there right now. But as we start to do these type of activities, we'll start to say, oh my goodness, this is where I'm spending the most of my time. It's like, I'm not sleeping. And I don't even have green space. And when I started this activity, I went through iterations of it. This is not how it looked in the beginning. Then you have your Saturday and your Sunday. Yours may look a little bit different, okay? Because you may work Saturdays and Sundays. I generally do not work on Saturdays and Sundays. Pink is for mentoring and going to service. And then I also have a little orangish color on my Saturday and Sunday. And that was for grocery shopping, what is it, grooming, nails, you know, getting hair done, all those things that we love to do, I would actually carve it out. And after doing this for only a couple weeks, I am not even joking, like it just became a habit. And this is what I mean by habit stacking. So my family, I think my sister is even on the line tonight, they know generally my Saturday and Sunday is for them. I'm going to do some grocery shopping, cooking, cleaning. I'm not going to the grocery store Monday through Friday. I'm not walking in circles shopping, and it's Saturday and Sunday is carved out for that. So just, you know, habit stack. That's the first one. Second one, very simple. This is all 3 pages that you can pull from the internet. I like to do what I call strategic alignment. Okay, I'm trying to use like these project management / tech terms for y'all, but it's real, just pen and paper at this point. I'll give you some digital things as well that you can work with. I just start with the 2020 or 2021 calendar, the full year. As you know, we're already done with January. So right now, the one that I have on my desk, it's crossed out all the way till January 27th, yesterday. And so it gives me a full bird's eye view of what am I trying to accomplish for this year, whether it's getting a new job, whether it is spending time with family, finishing a book, writing a presentation, writing an article, whatever that thing is. My months are themed so that I'm able to accomplish whatever that is. And then I cross it out. That's the bird's eye view looking down. Okay, that's the whole year. Then we go into the little middle section, which is the monthly calendar. That is, what are you trying to accomplish throughout those days? When are you doing social media? When are we not going to do social media? We have to kind of divide and, you know, conquer in that sense and create those boundaries and parameters. And then this little graph at the bottom is just a blank version of this one here. So we're kind of just strategically aligning, what am I looking at my vision for 2021 for the whole year? What am I looking at for the month? And then what am I looking at for the week? And these are just different tools that you can use, okay? Different ones, you don't have to use them all. Another thing I like to do, and this is actually one that I use for my teams all the time, you go into Excel, you can create what is called a project roadmap. All of my mentees have a copy of this. I tell them, if your team does not have a project roadmap laid out for the year, the month, whatever it is, you're going to run into problems, because it starts with vision. We need to have a vision of what we're trying to accomplish. The only way we can know that is if we just put it on paper. I use 3 colors, gray, blue, and like a dusty rose. This is my actual project roadmap for the university. We have our projects laid out for December all the way until December of 2021. A lot of different things going on. It's almost like a modified Gantt chart, if you will. And I'm going to show you some tech tools that you can use as well. But if you like paper and pen, which I'm a paper and pen person, these are just things that you can jump on, do, and you can print them, and then you can move them around and update them. But just break it out by the year and just let that be your actual roadmap for what you want to accomplish for the year. Okay. Here's some productivity tools. Feel free to snap that screenshot. I'm going to run through this one for you. We're pressing in on about 6 more minutes. And so I'm very excited that we're going to get through this. And here are some more tools that you can use. Again, you can use your physical method, which is a calendar, very simple method. You can use an A3/A4 method, physical method of, you know, tracking your task or your to-do list. You just take a piece of paper, A3, A4, fold it, and then you have these 3 columns. One is things that you want to do that are urgent, maybe things that you want to do that not so important, and things that are just piling up for the week. And then at the end of the week, you just sit back and you go, okay, I can move this around, or I'm not going to even get this done anymore. It can wait till next year, or you just move it around. Then we have some productivity tools that are actually digital. I don't know if you've heard of these tools before, but these are some of the more popular ones. One is called Todoist app. Another one is Tick app. Then you have Things 3 app. So one of the key points that I want you all to take away is that the productivity tools should be the task manager, not you. You should be the vision master, telling the productivity tool how to maneuver your task. I don't want you to go out and get more, you know, Todoist apps and tick apps and all this stuff, and then it's just more burden on you. What I want you to think of is some of these tools are lightweight and some are a little bit more advanced. So the lightweight tools are going to be the ones that are going to give you just reminders and due dates, and you can add subtask and easy setups, personal use. Some of the examples are called due to. So if you look at the very last bullet under lightweight, it says due to, sorted iOS reminders, which are your phone reminders, and then you have Microsoft To Do. Those are actual apps. Those are examples of apps that you can look through, and the app should work for you. It should work towards your vision. No app is going to solve the problem of not having a vision. So you got to start with the vision. And then you have these a little bit more advanced apps, which we know a lot about. We've heard a lot about right now because we're on a Zoom call. These advanced apps have all the lightweight features and functions, but then there are also functions on there where you can do time taking, you can do labels. There's a search feature, you can delete things. A lot of you use like Teams and Asana. If you all have other apps that you use, feel free to type it into the chat, because I'm always interested in finding something that works really well. Or if you have something good to say about the apps that are on here, or something not so good, share that out, because people, we have quite a few CAPMs, certified associate project managers, college students on the line, who are my mentees, and they are hungry for opportunities, knowledge, information. So by all means, type it in the chat, if it's something helpful. These advanced features also allow you to start and finish projects. You have team collaboration. You usually use them for professional use. A lot of the ones that, Zoom, and someone said Teams earlier. We have Asana, we have Trello, we have To Do app, and then we have this one called Things. What I recommend though is, you look for a tool that works for you. Don't work for the tool. That's working the opposite way. Take 20 minutes Saturday and Sunday, or whatever your off day is, and plan. Just sit and plan for the week and say, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm not going to do. And just, make it doable. Don't put 50 things on a list. Then we walk around overwhelmed and overworked, really for no reason. And the last tool that I love, continuous feedback, a mirror. Just look in the mirror. If your eyes are droopy and you're angry and your skin is going haywire, that's probably the best feedback you can get, that you need to slow down and we need to take a break, step back a little bit from our apps and our overloadedness, and, stop overbooking ourselves, stop overwhelming ourselves. Just look right in the mirror. That's your continuous feedback loop right there. Insanely pursue your far out and audacious goals. I love this quote by Terrence Minoy. You should go full-fledged ahead once you know your vision. Do not be an aimless wanderer. So I'm going to do a blitz review, and then we have a few more slides that I'm going to actually blitz through, and then we're going to conclude. So some of the things that we talked about tonight were busyness and change. Busyness for the sake of being busy. Key takeaway, all change terminates. So if you decide to change something, it's going to feel a little uncomfortable in the beginning, but you're going to flow right through, and eventually it'll become natural. We can accept, mitigate, ignore, avoid, delegate tasks. We do not have to take on everything. Prioritize your priorities. You can delegate, you can ignore, you can say, nope, not this, not today. There are two sort filter activity we went through, carving out time for vision work. There's 168 hours in a work week. How are you spending that 168 hours? It's important to know. There are two types of people. There are people that look for opportunities, and there are people who are okay with their assignment. Which one do you want to be known for? And then we're looking ahead to, we looked at some physical and digital task management toolkits that will help you go from task manager to vision master by delegating your task management to the actual digital or paper tools. Here's the challenge. I'm going to blitz through 10 things. Take just one, and run with that thing and implement it, do it, reach out to me on LinkedIn, tell me it worked or it didn't. Just take one. So from this whole conversation, I just want you to do one of these challenges. Get excited about your life and then live it. And live it to the fullest. Get excited about it. You're here. Click unsubscribe and stop chasing notifications. Remember that little picture earlier with our person that has 1,300 unread notifications? Stop chasing notifications. Just click unsubscribe. That the people are going to keep emailing you if you don't. Eliminate waste. Refine it, replace it, list it, discard it. I know someone recently who was moving, and this person was like, I'm just getting rid of everything. I don't even want anything. I think it's the guy with not Tesla, yeah, Tesla guy, Elon Musk, said he was selling everything. He's not selling everything. I'm selling my house and everything for whatever reason. But eliminate the waste. If you don't need it, get rid of it. Give it to someone, discard it, list it, put it up for sale. Habit stack your calendar. If that rang true for you, habit stack it. Look at your calendar and just, start with that 40-hour work week and then work your way up and down. Habit stack your calendar. Declare your vision, own your vision, but you must first know what your vision is. So if you want to take on that task, by all means, do that. Let this replace, Carol, you're not muted. Let this replace
Sorry.
you're okay. Your old task list. Touch it once. We are in a habit of touching our phone, looking at an email and not responding. We look at our email, don't respond. We look at a text, we don't respond. We watch your phone. Touch it once. If you go check the mail, go through the mail, throw away what needs to get thrown away, write down what needs to get written down, and move on with your life. Same thing with your phone. Get in a habit of when you touch your phone, you're answering and responding. If you open emails, answer or respond. Do not keep putting things off to the next day. Touch it once. Number 7, and we only have 10 of these, 2 or less reduces stress. Do not multitask, at least not more than 2 things at a time. Try to keep it down to 2 or less. It reduces stress. Anything more, and I'm a slave to that chore. So if I'm juggling 3, 4, 5 things, it's not going to be that pretty, okay? Don't wait for perfect timing. There is not a such thing. Just do it. If you're the person that says, I'm going to get to that tomorrow, just start doing it. Just start getting to it. Love, share, then love some more. That is extremely important. There are 2 types of people, task managers and vision masters. Task managers are after opportunities. Let your apps and your papers be your task managers. Become a vision master focused on what is your bigger assignment and your vision. I'd like to end with a couple slides. I told you all earlier about my mother having had passed away at a very ripe age. She was actually 47 years old. And so this is supposedly we have 89 years is the average lifespan of an American. And so there are 90 circles on this sheet. My mother was able to fill up 47 of those, and that's what those dark dots are. Many of us are either lower at that age or maybe beyond that age a little bit. Either way, we're all approaching that last little circle in the left-hand corner. And so what I want you to think of as you press on and you're taking on these tasks and you're doing all this extra work and you're moving in between places and you have all these things that are on your mind, what are you after and what do you want to be known for in that moment? What is it that you want to be known for in that moment? What do you want to be known for? What will you be anchored to, or will you just drift and be, running around behind opportunities? With that said, you are more than a task manager. You are a vision master. Thank you so much for your time. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I appreciate you all, and I'm so happy for those of you who are here, and I'm open for any questions that you may have.
Before we get to questions, I just want to say a great big thank you for sharing your energy and your vision and everything that you do for us, and just love it. And I'll add one thing. I once read talk about when you just said when you were closing up about take care of things in the moment. Don't let look at the voicemail or text and not explain. I once read something, I forget where it said if something's going to take you less than a minute, just do it. And that really stayed with me. And sometimes even with things laying around my house, I go, no, I need to hang this up, not just lay it down here so I have to pick it up later. And that's the same for any task. Less than a minute, just do it. So thank you, Mishirika. Always a pleasure, and I love your energy. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. And I did have one more question. Go ahead, and Rick, you can put it back up there. Oh, look at that. Was that really 100%? Everyone wants to be go from task manager to vision master. Then I have accomplished my goal and so much more in this presentation. That is going to make for a happier world. I'm telling you, it really is. That makes me happy. Any questions? I don't know if you want to filter questions, comments. how you all want to do that. Open up mics. I'm okay with whatever you
So
all.
Richard, did you collect questions? I didn't see much in the way of the chat
Okay.
to come back to. I have like 2 little ones, but I want to go to the audience first.
I have actually 2 questions.
So
So,
okay, go. Yes.
so question number 1 is sometimes it's really challenging to say no, right? Because you want to be polite and not offend anyone. So that's question 1. And the second one is when you get like, I'm just making it like, let's say 100 or 200 emails every day and you're in meetings. End of the day, you have half an hour to check all your emails. How do you know which ones are important and which ones are not unless you go through them?
I agree. That very good questions, Nilu. The first one, how to say no. I learned this from, I want to say it was Momentum, the book. I watched Joey and Jason Womack, and he just said, just say no. Just say no. I mean, there's no other better way. There's no strategy or technique. I mean, you can say it nicely, like no, or you can just be very firm and say no. But it leads right into your next question, which I love, which you have that 100 and 200 emails. When we set ourselves up to receive emails like that, they're going to come. I manage the university's projects, and I'm not overwhelmed with emails because I've set parameters and boundaries. Now, if anyone's watching me, they're probably like, oh, that's an emailer then. But they know what I will answer to and what I will not. And I reiterate that in meetings. So at the end of my workday, I may have, and people can attest to this that know me, maybe 5 unread that, and that is consistent across the board because it's important that we set up those boundaries and parameters early on and reinforce them, remind people. Hi, everyone, just letting you know, we have these meetings for this reason. So if you have concerns or you have these, bam, they go here. If you have any emails that are urgent, send it through a ticketing system, a service, set up a ticketing system. We just set up a service now where people have to go through a process to actually get an email into my inbox. But there's no easy way, to do that other than let people know, like, this is the boundary. This is what the email is for. This is what our phone conversations are for. This is what text messaging is for. Because otherwise, if people think they can email you, or anyone, they're just going to do it.
If you start delegating and people learn that you're going to direct them to somebody else, they'll stop contacting you.
And another thing we just did, Rick and Nilu, we just implemented priority. And instead of saying high or low, we said needed by date. So if you send me something without a needed by date, I don't even look at it. I literally bounce it back to you. I don't even I just say, when do you need this by? And then I personally have an issues list and a task list that I manage. So maybe one of those apps will give you that opportunity to have an issues list, a task list, where you can just quickly write, the date, the sender, what the response was, and who's the task owner of that thing. But otherwise, yeah, the 100 emails and 200 will be the norm. And that task just, sits on us. And, it's very unfair. It's a job. It's a 9 to 5. We have life to live as well. So, keep reaching out to me though. We can work offline and try to figure something out as well. But that is how I have set up those boundaries and parameters. People, if it's urgent, I'll get an email after 5. If not, people know I'm not going to respond after 5.
I was in a production support role and we didn't have a schedule. And so whenever anything broke or somebody had a question, they would just call the last person that helped them. There were no boundaries or no rules. They just call people who are helpful, right? Who are you going to call when you need help? The person who helps you, right?
That's true.
And so we had to manage our time because it was out of control, getting pages 7 by 24 for production issues. So then we set up a rotating on-call schedule, right? And you're only contacting me when I'm on schedule. When it's not my turn, I'm delegating, these other hours and days to my other staff. And you set up the rules saying, why did you call me? You should have called the on-call person first.
I like that. That's a good one too.
One thing I found that's helpful, this is Mark, by the way, is, how's it going? Good to see you again.
Hey, Mark, I didn't know you were here.
Hey, Carol,
I didn't either.
Yeah. One thing I felt with regards to email, because it's really not communication anymore, but I write a rule. So anything I'm on CC on, I just put it in a folder, and frankly, I don't read it unless somebody calls me. And then if I'm in the to line, that goes in my inbox, and I pay attention to those because somebody's trying to write to me. And that gets rid of a lot of the chatter, for lack of a better term.
Oh, I like that. I've never created a rule for the CC. I like that one.
Filters out a lot of stuff you probably don't really care about.
Right, exactly. Because if it was urgent, it would be to you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And if it's
I
urgent,
like.
they'll call, right? So,
Yeah, of course. Call, text, knock on the door, anything. Yeah.
yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for adding that in. That's perfect.
Sure.
I'm not seeing other questions. I had 2 clarifications on your presentation. When you were showing us your habit stacking calendar,
Okay.
a couple of your hours were highlighted in pink. I didn't know what that indicated.
That's actually mentoring. So habit stacking Saturdays and
No,
Sundays.
the hours, just the hour, not the task.
Oh, that was me. That's lunchtime. I really try to do a lunch plus like LinkedIn networking on that Tuesday and that Thursday. So I'm not plugged into LinkedIn and Instagram and all these other things 24/7. So lunchtime I cheat on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'll jump in and eat and also check social media at the same time. Same thing here on my commute home. I'll jump in and do a little bit of emailing or something during a time when, you know, I should be probably resting. But I stick to it though. Otherwise that thing will be out of control. And I do the same thing on Tuesday here as well, early in the morning.
And my second point that I wasn't clear on is I was unfamiliar with the term TickTick app. So can you give me a brief description?
You
What
know
is
what?
a TickTick
That
app?
one is someone else actually told me about the TickTick app, and I think that is one of the lightweight. So we're looking at all of these are either lightweight or advanced, and so the advanced ones are going to be the ones where you have Asana and team collaboration and search functions. TickTick is probably just going to be a time manager a little bit more, but it's one of the lightweight. All of these apps are either lightweight or advanced.
Okay, so, it was a new term. I wasn't familiar with it. So
yeah, someone sent that one to me recently, and I haven't used it personally. I'm not a fan of digital, but I know that some people are. They like digital. I like paper. I like to write mine in right there. But
Oh,
yeah.
I'm a paper person too. In fact, that's a whole other seminar, Mishirika.
my whole career was to get rid of paper. That's what as IT, I wanted to get rid of paper.
Yes, and I work in IT as I'm information technology as well, and they tease me all the time. I still print things. I do not want to use. Do not give me all these electronic things. I just give me a laptop and a printer and ink and paper. That's all I need.
No, we have to stop doing that. It's showing. No, we have to get more digital. That I'll disagree on.
Zoom, I think that's good enough. We're doing pretty good. Anyone else? Rick, did you have another follow-up?
Those are my 2 clarifications. At this point, we don't have questions queued up. So if somebody has a question, just open your mic and shout it out.
And comments too. I mean, this is, how long do we have, Rick? It's 7:13 my time.
We have plenty of time. We want to finish by 8 to 7. We're good. We can go, another 10 minutes or whatever we need. But
okay, so 10 more minutes. If you just have comments, if you are, especially my mentees that are out there, we have people on the line who have been in their field and in their roles. I know everyone's looking for work, so maybe not ask about that, but anything that you're trying to, you're stuck in or trying to work through, or, I saw a lot of chat activity. I just don't know what was in there. Feel free to just open up your mic and, give your feedback. Was this helpful? Was it not? Clarification slides.
well, the first thing, just to give you feedback, is, you were enjoyable to listen to. You weren't just reading the slides to me. You had a lot more to go along with it. So it's a very natural presentation. So thank you.
Of course. Thank you. That's the second goal. Everyone said they want to be a vision master, so I felt excellent about that. Then after, right? And then I'm like, yeah, it felt very, good. So to hear that feedback, thank you so much, Rick. That is helpful. Anyone else?
I see a question. It says, any advice about finding your vision?
Oh, and hi, by the way. Hi, Kayla. This is actually one of my mentees. You know what? I'll jump in, and then I think Carol can probably really do a real good job with this, only because I was looking to Carol for a little bit of advice at one point as well, before I got into presenting, and I was in transition. I reached out to Carol and said, hey, I know what I'm after, but it's hard for me to get it. It's not making sense. And she connected me with some other people, and it really is a journey. I mean, I
Yeah.
truly believe that our passion is going to be there, but over, it's a journey of clarity. It's not like I'm going to wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, you know what? I'm 15 years old. I know what I want to do for the rest of my life. It is a trial and error, but ultimately we know what pulls and tugs at our hearts. Like, some people, when they see dogs hurt, they are just like, oh, and then you go, well, maybe a veterinarian, or maybe, a sitter or dog sitter, or animal person. Some people, when they see babies, or for me, it's students, you see, I didn't even try to smile and I started smiling. that is something that if you call me, I will wake up out of the bed to help a student to get, to where they're trying to get to. So when we're talking about vision, it's really that thing that moves us. And then we start to create a picture of, you know what, I would love to wake up every single day and teach, or, drive trucks, or be a nurse and work in, the ICU department. There's something in us that just pulls us to that thing, and we don't run from it. So Carol, I'll let you jump in now. Good question.
Oh, I guess just to add to your point is networking and keeping in touch with people is really so key to every success. Like I said, Mishirika and I met at the conference. We didn't know each other. We kept in touch. We talk now and then. And then one time we met on her train ride home, and that's when she was talking about, where do I go? And I didn't even have a plan of how I could help her. But in sitting there talking to her, I realized I knew one particular person who might be a good connection for her, and put her in touch. And of course, being the shy, retiring person that Mishirika is, she was a little nervous about reaching out. But no, seriously, you just never know where the next link in the chain is going to be. And you really have to think about it, not be afraid to reach out. And the worst that can happen is you just say, I'm calling to say hello. And especially, I mean, when this happened, there was no COVID, but especially in this time of COVID, where we're not seeing each other and we're not able to meet for lunch or coffee or whatever way you can reach out. I've been sending a lot of my friends, this sounds crazy, like a Hershey's chocolate bar in the mail. Just like, who doesn't want to get a piece of chocolate by surprise one day, So use whatever you can, but use your network and reach out.
I definitely agree. I will echo that 100%. It has always been, I have not been nervous to jump out and ask someone for help. And every one of my mentees know that I try to connect them to whoever I can that can help them, because I don't have all the answers. Carol didn't have all the answers. Carol, as amazing as she is, helped me to meet someone else, and that person gave me some more. So you just kind of go from place to place. But I think the first thing that you've done, Kayla, which is amazing, is just ask the question, like just let people know and say, hey, I'm thinking this way. How do I find my vision? And not be afraid to ask.
One thing I'll add to this, and then I actually am going to have to get off, but one thing I'll add to this is when Mishirika and I met that time, it occurred to me that there's a book I've read for years called Meditations for Women Who Do Too Much. And even though it's titled Meditations for Women, it's applicable to anyone. Oh, there you go. And
I read it every day still. It's
Okay.
amazing. I actually take things out of this and I give it to both men and women and in between. Like,
so open up a page so people can see. It takes you literally a minute or two. That's what, all you have to do is read one of those pages each day. And it's just a good inspiration for the day. And speaking of task overload, that's just a great little book. You can get them on Amazon. You can buy used copies for $2. So I highly recommend it, to just read one page a day of it.
It's amazing. It's a gift that just keeps giving. And this is my second time around reading it. I actually thought Carol gave it to me as just to have for a little while. And I reached out and I said, hey, when do you need that book? She said, no, you keep it, because it's so beat up that, I was like, I would have to buy you a new copy. I read it every day.
It was a gift. It was a gift.
And I'm reading it for the second time around. So yes,
pay it forward when you find someone who needs it. send them a copy.
I definitely will consider it. No, I'm joking. I will do it. Thank you, Carol. I know
Sure.
you said you have to jump off, and we are pressing against the 7:30 area as well. Someone just mentioned they comment on sleep. Yes, it's funny. 8 hours of sleep would be ideal. Mike, I think 8 hours is great. And if I said earlier, if there's someone out there getting 8 hours of sleep, let me know who you are. So that, I mean, I try. Even when I do go to sleep at a decent hour, I still wake up early, and I'm like, what the
Yeah.
heck? Like, so
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if we're even programmed to do that.
Yeah.
Is there a chip that we can buy that programs us to like get 8 hours of sleep?
Right.
But it is important, even if you get,
I just bought an Echo, and I've
Okay.
started doing sleep meditations. Like I just say,
Oh, yes.
Alexa, play me a 5 to 7 minute, sleep meditation. And I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
Anyway, I will say good night. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
I'll
Carol.
okay, my pleasure. Thank you all.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Any comments, questions? We can start to wrap up, I think, Rick.
Thank you. This was really great. A lot of useful tips.
Perfect. Thank you, Nilu, for that.
Yes, thank
feedback.
you. Lot of great energy. Great to see you again as well.
I
so.
know, Mark. I'm so happy to see you too. I was like, what? You said this Mark here. I'm like, wait, which Mark?
Yeah. Who? Yeah.
You're right.
Great
Thank
seeing you. I need to drop as well.
All right.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Take care. All right. Bye-bye.
All right, well, thank you very much for giving your presentation tonight. Like I said, it was lively and engaging. It was great to see some of your mentors, names I haven't seen before, were able to join us this evening. Hopefully they can join us for future events. That's the next thing I want to share my screen again.